the worst thing to be the object of someone's obsession if you're not interested. It became unbearable.
Serious was it? Did Alfred Hitchcock try to have sex with you?
Well, he never got that far.
Are there Hollywood stories almost buried from the public? Well, the gripping fictional stories they produce are nothing when compared to the reality they so desperately try to hide. Let's have a look at some among the many. Number 10. John Lennon outraged religious Americans. You probably know John Lennon from his songs, right? However, he was involved in various controversies throughout his life. One of the most concerning to people was his statement that the Beatles were more popular than Jesus. Initially published in the London Evening Standard in March 1966, it didn't raise much fuss. However, the controversy escalated when the quote resurfaced 4 months later in the teen magazine Datebook. In the United States, some radio DJs were particularly outraged. They took the smashing Beatles records live on air, urging their listeners to join in by sending their own Beatles memorabilia to be destroyed. Number 9. Ted Healy's suspicious death. Ted Healy was a big name in vaudeville, but his life ended tragically in 1927 when he was murdered outside of the Trocadero nightclub in Los Angeles. There are a lot of different stories about what happened that night, which has led many people to think that some powerful individuals might have been involved and that there was a cover-up. Some folks believe that future Batman producer Cubby Broccoli, actor Wallace Beery, and a New York gangster had something to do with Healy's death. There's even talk that Louis B. Mayer and Eddie Mannix, both major players in the film industry, helped hide the real story. Number 8. Death of a mobster. With her past, it was already known that Lana Turner had a risky taste for her choice of men. In 1958, Lana Turner got involved with Johnny Stompanato, a known mobster. Although their relationship was rocky from the start, things turned really worse when Stompanato was found stabbed to death in Turner's house. Turner's 14-year-old daughter was arrested for the murder. She said she was defending her mother from Stompanato's attacks and acted in self-defense. Lana Turner testified in court, explaining what happened that tragic night. Number 7. Natalie Wood's mysterious death. How many actresses do you know achieved immortality through their death? By 25, Natalie Wood had already earned 3 Oscar nominations. Despite achieving this fame, she died suddenly in a mysterious drowning incident. In 1981, Wood, who was 43 at the time, was on a boat with her husband, actor Robert Wagner, and her Brainstorm co-star, Christopher Walken, who was rumored to be her lover. Initially, her death was judged an accident. Number 6. Alfred Hitchcock harassed Tippi Hedren. Years before the #MeToo movement took hold, Hollywood was a place where influential men often exploited their power over women. However, this saw some changes in 2016 when actress Tippi Hedren came forward with allegations against director Alfred Hitchcock, recounting her experiences from the 1960s. Hedren accused Hitchcock of inappropriate behavior, including grabbing her, attempting to kiss her, and installing a secret door between his office and her dressing room. In her autobiography, Tippi, a memoir, she described Hitchcock's constant fixation on her. Number 5. Charlie Chaplin's Teen Brides. The comedy legend Charlie Chaplin was married 4 times in his lifetime. He got married for the first time at 29 and for the last time at 53. It is definitely noteworthy that all his wives were pretty much the same age. His first 2 wives were both 16 years old. Yep, sweet 16. He even married his second wife in Mexico to get around California's marriage laws for minors. His third marriage seemed a bit more balanced as he was 47, while she was just 20. But for his 4th and final marriage, he went back to marrying younger, with his wife being just 18. Number 4. Fatty Arbuckle's manslaughter charge. Hollywood may have witnessed its first biggest scandal in the year 1921, when Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle, a well-known comedian, and Virginia Rapp, an actress who wasn't very famous at the time, they met at a party and later found themselves in the same hotel room. Things took a tragic turn when other guests heard Virginia screaming and saw her shaking in pain. They rushed into the room to find out what was happening. Sadly, a few days later, Virginia died from a ruptured bladder. Her friend claimed that Arbuckle had raped her and accidentally caused her death. Number 3. The mysterious death of Paul Byrne. In 1932, Hollywood was rocked by the mysterious death of producer Paul Byrne, who was married to the glamorous Sean Harlow. Byrne was found dead in their home, and it looked like he had taken his own life. But what really set tongues questioning was the strange note he left for Harlow. In it, he apologized for the wrong things he'd done to her and ended with a strange line. "You understand that last night was only a comedy." No one could figure out what he meant, and Harlow refused to answer any questions about it. Number 2. Judy Garland was forced to starve herself. When Judy Garland signed up with MGM as a teenager, she immediately faced immense pressure to stay slim and endure grueling work hours. At just 14, she suffered constant verbal abuse from producers and crew members, who cruelly compared her to a fat little pig with pigtails. By the time she was 18, MGM founder Louis B. Mayer had imposed a harsh regimen on her, consisting of coffee, cigarettes, and diet pills. Number 1. Clark Gable had a secret child. In 1931, when Clark Gable starred alongside Loretta Young in The Call of the Wild, he found himself in a situation he hadn't bargained for. Despite still being married to Maria Langham, Gable had an affair with Young, resulting in the birth of their daughter, Judy. To keep the pregnancy under wraps, Young left the country as soon as she began to show, gave birth in California, and then legally adopted the child. It wasn't until Judy was 31, upon discovering the truth about her origins, that the secret came to light. Gable never publicly acknowledged Judy as his daughter. The darker side of Hollywood is still being unearthed, and thus, the stories are far from over. Do you have any more stories that you came across? Please care to leave them as comments. We'll catch you in the next one. Until then, like and keep subscribed.